Moving on, an explosive new report by UN watchdog organization UNWatch now outlining numerous incidents of anti-Semitism and blatant incitement to violence or even terrorism, and all by none other than educators and staff employed by UNWRA, aka the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. But that's not all. ILTV's news anchor and correspondent Lidar Grave-Lazi with the details. Lidar, thanks so much for being with us. Now, what exactly has this report found?
Thanks, Aaron. So the UNWatch, which is an NGO based in Geneva that monitors UN activity, they issued a report which found that over 100 UNWRA educators and staff have publicly promoted anti-Semitism and violence against Israel. UNWRA, of course, being, as you mentioned, the UN Relief and Works Agency, which is a body dedicated to Palestinian refugees, and it operates in Gaza, in Jordan, in the West Bank, and also in Syria and Lebanon. So the report's called Beyond the Textbooks. It details 22 distinct cases of incidents where teachers have incited Palestinian students to violence, to anti-Semitism, and even to terrorism.
So what kind of incitement are we talking about, though? Can you give us a couple of specific examples from the report?
Yeah, so just a few examples. There was a math teacher in Gaza, Nahed Sharawi. He's at one of UNRWA's schools. He shared a video of Adolf Hitler with inspirational quotes. Another example includes Saeed Khalaf. He's a teacher from Jordan who incited terrorism by glorifying Omar Abu Laila, who's a terrorist who murdered an Israeli soldier and an Israeli father of 12 children. And the teacher basically lauds his actions, saying they were impressive given the terrorist's young age. And then I have one more example, which is another UNRWA teacher in the West Bank, Husni Musli, who posted anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that Jews control the world and created the coronavirus to destroy Islam. So these are just a few examples, and they detail some 22 incidents.
So how far do these incidents go? How far back?
Well, this report is actually pretty recent. It's recent incidents. They've had previous reports which have detailed things that go farther back. They've had reports dating back a few years now. So this isn't something new. This is something that's ongoing. This report is based on information that's basically publicly displayed on Facebook. And they simply found these incidents by doing a simple search related to UNRWA keywords. So basically anyone can go online, anyone can find these posts. The organization UNWatch said that there's likely many more incidents of such incitement and anti-Semitism, but they were only able to find 22 cases because they're just doing a simple Facebook search. And it only covers. It's important to note that it only covers activity that's online, not what's happening in the classrooms themselves. We don't know what's going on in there. The report doesn't address that. What these same teachers are basically teaching their students.
All right, well, we know from Impact SE reports that inside the classroom is also can be very problematic. But what is UNWatch calling for now in reference to this report?
So the UNWatch is calling on all the agency's major funders, which is basically the United States, Germany, the UK, and the European Union, to hold UNRWA accountable. All of these countries voluntarily donate funds to the organization. So I'll just remind you that the US under the Trump administration cut funding to UNRWA because of issues like this. But now the Biden administration has renewed the funding to the organization. And according to the report, the US will provide something like $313 million to UNRWA in 2021. The report also says that as part of this funding, the U.S. State Department basically demanded a reform in UNRWA's education system so that instances like this of anti-Semitism and incitement don't occur. But UNWatch is saying that despite UNRWA's promises, this is clearly not the case as they've just outlined in the report.
Yeah, that's my final question, really. We've talked about how UNRWA has received criticisms like these before, and UNRWA claims to have zero tolerance for such incitement and behavior. So how are they dealing with it?
So the report actually talks about this, and it says that they've sent so much information to UNRWA over the years of similar incidents of anti-Semitism, incitement to terrorism, all these things. UNRWA, unfortunately, has done very little. They haven't fired many of the teachers that have been involved. Some by the way, being Hamas operatives, Hamas, a known terrorist organization. So unfortunately, very little is being done by the UN, very little is being done by the organization to address these issues.
All right, Lidar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.